Hi everyone, I'm Lisa Curcio and I would love to welcome you here to Lisa's Stamp Studio. Today is Monday, it is April 3rd, the year is 2023 and we are streaming live right here on YouTube. Whether you're watching live or perhaps you're watching the replay, doesn't matter. If you're new or returning, I'm loving that you're here. Thank you for joining us. Boy, it's a big night here in the studio because in addition to this masculine card that I'm going to teach you, it's quick and easy. It's going to use designer series paper, and boy, do I have tips for you, in addition to some amazing alignment. And I've got numerous samples to share with you during tonight's live stream. But we're also doing a live chat giveaway. So I want to make sure I mention that right now, because if you're watching and you haven't logged into your YouTube account to chat during tonight's live stream, you want to do that. You'll need to use your Gmail address. That's required by YouTube, not of me, in order to chat. And of course, we would love to hear your feedback if you are here watching the replay. So you'll need to log in as well. We'd love to interact with you. And I come back and I read every single comment. Now, a couple things about tonight's live stream before we get started. First, you want to make sure you stick around for the free project sheet. In addition to the card I'm going to demonstrate for you, that project sheet holds several other samples. That's going to include the pictures, the cutting dimensions, and the supplies. You're going to find the link when tonight's live stream is over. It's going to be down in that video description below, so make sure you hang with us. If you're here in the live chat, I want to introduce you to two special people tonight. If you're here for the first time, really is not much different for you, but if you're returning, you know all about Gina Curcio Hawley. You'll see Gina's name in blue off to the side. She is my daughter. She's also the sales and marketing director here at Lisa's Stamp Studio and an avid stamper. She's here to provide links and answer your questions. Now, you might know that I'm getting ready to be a grandma, and Gina is very pregnant, and she's going to be going on maternity leave on May 1st. So that brings me to the second person I want to introduce you to, and her name is Grace Hudson. You'll see Grace's name in blue off to the side during the live chat as well, and I want to take a moment to introduce you to her and welcome her here to the Lisa Stamp Studio team. She's going to be filling in for Gina while Gina's on maternity leave. Don't fret. Grace knows what she's doing, and tonight she's getting her feet wet to get to meet all of you, and we are so glad that she's here. So help me welcome her. She's been a longtime family friend, and we are thrilled to have her. All right, I want to go over a couple things because I want to make sure you stick with me to the live end because we're going to do that giveaway, but you need to be in the live chat to be one of the winners. I want to talk to you about this. If you haven't already heard, we have hundreds of people that have already signed up for the online stamping retreat. Now, if you're thinking, what is that? It's a virtual full-day event that's going to be on April 22nd here in the U.S., April 23rd if you're in Australia or the UK, and we would love to have you join us. Doesn't matter if you can't join us the whole day live because you have lifetime access to this event. I'm hosting it with Gina along with Kylie Bertucci, who is the #1 Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Australia, and her amazingly talented husband, Bruno Bertucci. Check out their YouTube channel and subscribe. You're going to be amazed at their amazing projects and, of course, their incredible personalities. We know that you're going to be really impressed with the projects. Now, if you love fun folds, you're not going to want to miss this because I'm going to tell you right now there's a little bit of everything. $45 is going to give you a lifetime access. You're going to be able to preview all the projects with pre-cutting dimensions and supplies. So if you want to stamp along with us, you can. Now, if you don't want to and you want to hang out and just have fun with everybody in the live chat, you can. We have a special platform for this. Head over to onlinestampingretreat.com. Now, really important. We want to make sure you stick around for that giveaway. I know I sound like a broken record, and I apologize for that. But guess what? We're ready to get stamping. Let's get going. All right, I want to show you this before we get started. This is session 1 for 2023's collector pen. We have been doing this since the very start. Many of you have been coming to the retreat since the beginning. We changed the color of every session, and we're into Daffodil Delight this year. I love the quality of our pens, and Gina did design them. And you'll notice the back is even finished because we're all about quality. You'll be able to purchase this at onlinestampingretreat.com under shop, and there's a bunch of other stuff there for you. Wanted to give you a quick look. All right, here we go. We're going to start with designer series paper. Now I'm going to give you a couple tips about the paper. Unlike some cards, we are going to use both sides. So I want to make sure that you know that you should pick designer series paper that's going to coordinate well on both sides. Now, Stampin' Up! Paper, we have absolutely no problems with that because the coordination is fabulous. I always let my designer series paper select the colors that I'm going to be using because that's taking out half the work, isn't it? So I'm choosing designer series paper. This is on the retired list and it's called He's the Man. And I absolutely love that masculine theme because like you, I struggle to make masculine cards. Now, I'm not going to get hung up on which side you should score on because we're going to walk through that a little bit more and I'm going to give you some great options. Super easy cutting dimensions and they are 5 1/4 by 12 inches. Now we're going to do 3 simple score lines. I'm going to open that little extender arm there. That's to my paper trimmer. Love this trimmer. This, as well as the other products you'll see me using, can all be found in my online store at lisastampstudio.com. So the first one, I'm going to slide more into your camera view, is going to be at 2 inches. And just for the sake of the live stream, I'm going to score on this side because it's darker and maybe a little bit easier for you to see. So 2 inches, then I'm going to come over to 5 inches. You see that little ledge here at the top? I can't do anything straight, so this ensures that my paper is straight every single time. There's one here and one at the bottom. Now guess what? This trimmer also includes a cutting blade, so they navigate up and down out of the way. You never have to take them off. This is the champ of paper trimmers, and I know you guys are here in the live chat with me, can vouch for how amazing this is. So that was 2 and 5, and one more. Here comes that extender arm. Look at all the way past 17 inches. So we have our scrapbookers covered, and this one is going to be at 8 inches. Again, I'm using that ledge to my advantage, and we are going to score. Now I'm going to move this off to the side. We don't need it anymore. I'm going to come back to this because I'm going to give you options on folding this. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in some basic white cardstock, and we're going to do a little bit of stamping. Now I'm going to bring in my black pimento ink and crushed curry. Now you're going to see me talk about the last chance products tonight because guess what? That beautiful annual catalog that we have loved for the last year, it is on its way out and there is a new one coming out May 2nd that you're going to adore. But the good news is, well, as pretty as it is, the bad news has to include a ton of these products are being retired. Now starting tomorrow, April 4th, some of those products are going to be 60% off in my online store with Stampin' Up. So I want to make sure I call your attention to that because if you're like me, you hate to miss a deal, right? So I'm going to start with both of these ink pads open. I'm going to bring in my small grid paper, which is also on the retirement list, as well as this color, crushed curry. And no, I didn't know that when I designed this card, so I just got lucky. These items that are on the last chance list are going to sell out fast. Do not wait. That is my key word for you. Go look tonight and see if there's anything you love because tomorrow it's going to be fast and furious, I promise. Now I'm using a masculine stamp set that I have fallen in love with and it's called Brewed for You. Do we have any whiskey, perhaps beer drinkers? Oh, I mean, you could just use this for a bunch of things, wine as well. But right now it's going to be offered as a bundle. Now, the bundle is not being carried over, although they will be allowed separately in the new catalog. So if you want to save that 10% and get both, you're going to want to purchase them now before they're gone. All right, so that's really, really important. So this is what I'm using. Unlike some people, I like to start with the fill image first, and I'm going to tell you why. I've got one here that's going to be for the Stein, so I'm going to ink it up in the crushed curry. Now, one ink pad with Stampin' Up! Can typically produce numerous shades of color. So let me show you. This is obviously full strength, and then this is a little lighter and a little lighter. 2 colors easily in shades for this one ink pad. Great cost-saving tip, so I want to make sure that you're well aware of that. No reason to buy super closely related colors, right? So for this one, I'm going to stamp off. That's what that means. I want one shade lighter. Let's go ahead and put this one down here. I want it to look more like beer. I'm cleaning that stamp off camera, and I've got another one here that's going to fill the glass, and again, I'm going to stamp off, leave a little bit of room because we've got dies for these to make our job super easy. Now I'm going to close, well, you know what? Let's go ahead and let's do one more. I changed my mind. Where's my Stein? Let's ink that up, And we're going to stamp off, and let's do another one here. All right, so now I've got 3. Let's close this up. Open ink pad around here. It's always a recipe for disaster. Anyone else with me? Here comes the outline image. The reason I like to do the solid image first is because it tends to be darker than the outline, and it's easier for me to navigate. Plus, when we're live streaming, I can't get my head in your camera view. The older I get, the closer I get to be. Now, I want to talk to you about this. Do you see here at the bottom? This can be left uncolored, and you can color from here up, or you can move the color down. So let me give you an example. I can navigate up or navigate down. There's really no right or wrong way. It's a matter of preference. I am trying so hard not to get my head in your camera view, so this might not be perfect. But there we go. We've got one beer stein. And again, this is photopolymer, which means the stamp is clear, which is going to make it a lot easier for you to navigate. So we've got our 2 steins here. And now what we're going to do, crushed curry is not retiring. Thank you for correcting me, Gina. I don't know why I lost my head there for a minute. I think I'm thinking of So Saffron. Forgive me, friends. I'm really excited about tonight. So crushed curry is not retiring. I spoke incorrectly. Here's that glass. And then we are going to stamp that here. Not perfect because I didn't want to get my head in your camera view. Now, because there are dies, I'm leaving space. Now, those beer steins need a little foam, don't they? And I'm going to stamp those separately. Now, I do want to point this out to you because if you're an ale drinker, you might love knowing this. There's a smaller foam here for this glass, and obviously you can do that as well, but you'll notice there's a fill for this. I love the fact that there's outline images here because if you want to color them in, you can. So I took the coordinating dies, and you're also going to notice that there's some decorative fills that you can die cut that can actually come as part of the glass, which means you don't have to stamp if you don't want to. Really versatile for this. Now, I did do that portion ahead of time because I didn't think you wanted to watch me die cut all those images. So let me just bring those in. Here's my foam. And then I have my 2 beer steins and I have my beer glass. Now, one thing I love about how they designed these dies is you're going to notice that there's kind of a ledge here, and that's for a purpose so that you can easily adhere them. Now, I'm going to show you how I do it, and if you have a better way, please chime in the comments. We all love to learn from one another. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to flip it upside down. Now, obviously, if you like liquid glue, you can go for it. I am not a glue girl. So I'm going to work right across here at the top, and I'm going to add a little bit of Stampin' Seal Plus. It is very, very strong. Love that. Take your pick tool. That's going to help me pick up those small pieces. And then what I'm going to do is that sticky edge is going to come right up here and mimic the outline of that mug. Isn't that nice and easy? So let's go ahead and let's do one more because I want 2 for this card, and we're going to use them in various locations. Now, the silicone craft sheet is this piece that's underneath me, and I absolutely love it because adhesive liquid glue and hot glue will not stick to it. Okay, and Gina's telling me I need to clarify. So Saffron is retiring and crushed curry is not. So I want to make sure that I've said that properly so that I've got my bases covered. All right, so we've got all of our images. We're good. Now let's move over to some dies. Now I have to tell you, I had a big crying session this afternoon when I found out that the Layering Circles dies are on the Last Chance products list. I know, core shapes, but I will tell you that many stampers, this is the first shape of dies they always buy. Now, these staggered sizes also come with staggered sizes of scallops. If you do not have these, you need to run and purchase them. They are my favorites, so hence the crying session. So I did a little bit of die cutting before you joined me, and let me show you. So we've got these, and we got these. And I want to point this out that, again, I use that designer series paper to choose my colors. So we have Sahara Sand and Early Espresso. So that's where I picked up these colors from. Now, I know I'm going to do a little bit of stamping on these, so I was very cognizant that I picked a color that was light enough in my designer series paper to make this work. So I'm going to take these 2 and I'm going to push these up off to the corner for just a minute, and let's work on the Sahara Sand pieces. And then, believe it or not, we're going to assemble this. That's how simple this is. So we're going to come in with Early Espresso ink. Obviously, you could have used the Memento ink if you want. I just did this for the color coordination. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up. And from that exact same stamp set, I am going to use 2 images. So the first one says, let me pull it out. It says, I owe you one or several. Very cute. So I'm going to ink that up in the early espresso, and I'm going to gravitate that towards the center and we'll stamp. Now I'm cleaning that stamp right off camera. The next one I'm going to use with another greeting in that same stamp set, and this one says, another round for your birthday. Again, I'm going to ink that up, but this time I'm going to move it a little bit closer to the top because I'm going to leave room here. All right, let's close this up, and now we can start assembling, and you can see how this is going to come together. Now, one of the really fun things about tonight is I have another sample for you that I'm going to teach you a technique for, so make sure you hang with me. So I'm going to take this, and I'm going to flip this upside down, and I'm going to add my Stampin' Seal Plus adhesive to the back side, and that is going to get mirrored on top of here. And I'm looking to leave a border all the way around. And I'm going to do the same thing here. I tend to be very zealous with my adhesive, and then it always gets on my table, and then I'm fighting that sticky spot all night long. So that silicone craft sheet, it's a one-time buy, and it hides all my boo-boos. All right, let's work with this one first. Here I decided I wanted a little bit of an image. And I'm going to add one of the beer steins, but my tip for you is let's do this last because placement for this fun fold is going to be very important. Let's come back to this one, and we're just going to put these two pieces together first. And again, you'll notice how I've used the same colors, but you see how I've alternated them? So now the light is to the back and the dark is to the front. This time what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of my beer steins and I'm going to turn that upside down. I'm grabbing my dimensionals and the Take Your Pick tool. This has interchangeable tips that come with it. I love this because it's like my third hand. And I am actually tacking down where I stuck my adhesive. I'm going to let those do double duty for me. And I'm going to bring another one down here and I'm going to balance this because I want to make sure that those are going to stick really, really well. And I'm going to remove that paper backing with that little piercing tool attachment. I've got osteoarthritis, so peeling is difficult for me, so that helps me tons. This is going to go here. Whether you stay within the circumference of the circle is entirely up to you. Now this one I'm going to do a little bit of overlapping. So I'm going to add this one here, and then this one I think actually, let's do this. I'm going to put it all the way down here, and that's going to make more sense in a minute. And then let's add a little adhesive in between. This comes out in tabs, as I mentioned, which means if I get a little excited, I can roll back the excess and I don't have to worry about removing it. Look at, I put it on the wrong side. It's only because you're watching me. All right, and then what we're going to do is overlap these here, and we're going to tack those in place. Now, if you're like me and you made a mistake, okay, let's do some card surgery. I love when we're together live because there's no editing, and if you make mistakes, heck, I make them too. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to take one of the backings off of the dimensionals, and I'm going to pierce this to help me pick it up. All we're going to do is we are carefully going to lift this because you see I didn't press it, and we are going to navigate this up underneath, and we are going to make sure it's good and flat first, and then we're going to tuck it down. That's going to make sure that we have even leverage here so nothing lifts when this comes in and out of the envelope. All right, we're ready to start putting this together. Here is the designer series paper that we originally scored. This was the 2, the 5, and the 8. Do not get hung up on which side you want on top because this is what I did. I'm going to start by folding this one in, this one back, and this one in. Do you see the tiers? But then I looked at it and I was like, no, I really don't like that. So let's try this. What if I fold this one in, this one back, and this one like this? Without making hard, insecured creases, you can do some flip-flopping depending on your image. Remember, you want the strongest designer series paper here because we're going to create tiers now. So I'm grabbing my bone folder and we're going to go up over those creases to reinforce them. I've got another one back here. Just going to make sure everything is nice and straight. Now this itself is comprising the whole card, but we need a little weight here to kind of hold this in place. And that's where your quarter sheet of cardstock is going to come in. So let's go ahead and grab that silicone craft sheet one more time. And I'm flipping this over. This is that solid panel. This is where your adhesive is going to need to go. And I'm going to recommend that you work fairly generously because again, as it comes in and out of the envelope, you want to make sure that this doesn't lift or catch. Those of you using liquid glue, just don't use it too close to the edges. You certainly don't want it to ooze. I'm going to turn this paper horizontally. For the life of me, I cannot do anything straight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this horizontally as well. When I put it on my silicone craft sheet, it gives me a contrasting color underneath, which makes it easier for me to see that border before I tack it in place. And then we are going to push. Now I'm going to take a big pause because I can see you guys blowing up the live chat about the Stamparatus stamp positioning tool. It is on the retired list. It is being discontinued. As of this morning, it was on low inventory. I have not checked since then. If you want it, you're going to want to make sure you order right away because it will sell out probably tomorrow. All right, let's start here on the top. So we've got our image. Now you're going to notice we've got these tiers that we talked about. So you've got to be very careful where you're going to place your adhesive. So I'm going to use dimensionals and I am going to place them just behind this end. So I'm going to flip that upside down. We've got our dimensionals here, sticky, and then we are going to add one here. Easier said than done on a Monday. Another here and another here. And if you want, you can kind of offset and brace one here. You want to make sure you don't go too far. Now I'm going to give you an important tip before you secure this and get ahead of yourself. I like to put my fingers here so I don't get it stuck on the next panel because we're going to work all the way through here. Look and get your image as straight as you want. And I'm looking to put it on the inside center of this whole visual panel. So I'm lightly going to tack this in place. I'm going to open this panel. Nothing should show here. Okay, I'm good to go. All right, this one here is where I'm going to use next. But you know what? Oh, the Stamparatus is gone. Carol Schaefer, thank you for the update. So sad. I'm sorry. This needs to be hidden because we don't want to give away the whole card, do we? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add adhesive on the 2/3 of this. So I'm putting my fingers here and we're going to go up. We're going to go here, here, and here. And we're going to do the same thing. I'm holding my fingers here. Now watch. You are going to hover over the center panel, but I want you to close the top panel. You do not want to see the front from the back. When you're happy with it, you're going to tack it in place. Remember that beer stein? Okay, let's add some more adhesive to the back side. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that's going to kind of be hidden underneath here. So I'm looking, I'm like, yep, that's good. And then I'm just going to press that in place. Now we have one more panel that's going to have to go on the inside. So let's go ahead and let's add our adhesive for this one. This time I'm adding adhesive to the whole area, but I want to keep continuity because I want my fun fold to be really, really interesting. Super easy card. Hover again, close your first panel. See how you have to navigate that circle. And then I want you to close the top panel to make sure. Remember, this one is a little bit offset, so you've got more forgiveness. So it's going to come closer to your crease. Make sure your greeting is straight. And then just check one more time and close and close. And none of my cards are finished without a little pizzazz. I love these. They're not feminine. Rustic metallic adhesive back dots. They are being carried over into the new catalog. They are not retiring. They come in several sizes, and you can see I use a lot of them, so I always have a backup package here. I'm going to start with one of those bigger ones. They have glue dots already on the back, and I'm going to bring a little emphasis here to the front of my card. And I'm going to take another one, and let's do this. Let's put that one here, and then the small one we're going to add to that panel. So we've got a little bit of rustic feeling going on to this card. Now, this is super simple and easily duplicatable, but wait till you see the other cards. So I used a circle here, so this opens and expands, and yes, you can display it. A lot of you ask me, can you display it? Of course, but your designer series paper is making a quick and easy card, and you can make oodles of these. All right, so here's the first one that we demoed tonight. Now let me show you the others. Now this next one is going to use a bundle called Fragrant Flowers. It is on the retired list, which means it's probably going to go quickly. You're going to want it as a bundle because the dies are fabulous. It includes some label dies here as well. So let me show you what I did with this one. Now this one's completely different. So I colored this in with alcohol-based Stampin' Blends markers, super easy because it was one color. Added some leaves, of course, that are all part of that single image. But I want to show you, I added some ribbon here to separate this because my designer series paper was really simple on one side and a little busier on the other. Now watch what happens when I open this panel. You're going to notice that this looks kind of frosted and white, right? But do you notice it here on the back side? It looks totally different, doesn't it? That's because the designer series paper that I used here was a little bit too strong for the front. So I added a layer of vellum over the top of that designer series paper layer just to mute that so my focus would be on those beautiful flowers. I left that center panel here empty, and that is a great tip for you if you have those beautifully intricate designer series papers with a ton of colors. I wanted to keep this simple because there's a huge pop on the front, and guess what? You can always add more panels here if you want to do more writing. And of course, the back of the card. The alignment is the key to this fun fold. All right, I have another one for you. And for this one, I'm going to move these up and out of the way because I'm going to do a demo for you on this one. Now, this one uses the bundle called Simply Succulents. So it's the Simply Succulents stamp set and the Potted Succulents dies. Guess what? These are going to be 60% off tomorrow. Look, is that not incredible or what? And it die cuts lickety-split. 60% off. I think you need it in your artillery because when don't you need label dies? And look at this. These dies can be used independently without the stamps. I love the bundle. And if you think that coloring might be too much work, I've got a ton of videos here on YouTube on my playlist to show you all kinds of fun ways. But I want to show you the card I made with this one particularly. And that is this. Oh, that desert paper is so, so pretty. So you might be looking at this thinking, well, how the heck did you get all those colors? So I'm going to give you a quick 411 on that. And I'm going to show you how this opens. So again, you'll see those regular standard dies here. So there's no stamping here. And then this opens. I left it blank because I couldn't resist that pretty paper. And then I added a stitch rectangle here. Bad news, stitched rectangles are on the retired list as well. I'm going to tell you these core dies, they're going to sell out so fast tomorrow. If you want them, please don't wait. Even tonight, if they're not on sale, put your order in. Then you're going to be guaranteed to get your products. Let's talk about this. I'm going to put this card up here near the top so that you can see it. And I'm going to bring in my watercolor paper. Now, before you joined me, I went ahead and I stamped those in black Stays On ink. Stays On ink is going to be the way to go when you're going to be doing watercoloring. And the reason is that it's solvent based, which means when you add the water to it, it's not going to bleed your image. Memento ink, remember, is a water-based ink. It's great for just black words and black outlines that you're not going to color, or if you're using alcohol-based markers, because alcohol and water are like oil and vinegar. They don't mix, so you're in good shape. But Stays On ink is the way to go. I do not, this is a big Lisa disclaimer, do not recommend Stays On ink for photopolymer stamps. Now, many of you have told me you've done it and it's fine, but I'm going to give you an honest disclaimer because that's what this is about. We are a kindred spirit here. We're all paper crafters. I have found that if I use a photopolymer image repeatedly in Stays On, despite cleaning, that the image sticks to the paper. So I do not recommend Stays On for photopolymer stamps. That's my own personal Lisa thing, and that's what I'm sharing with you. So let's talk about coloring. I always like to protect my work surface, and I'm going to start with Old Olive ink. And I don't know about you, I don't like a big mess. Do you guys like a big mess? All right, so if you don't, this is a great tip. Take one of your clear blocks, tap it inside your ink pad. This now has become your palette. And you don't have to worry about trying to squeeze this or put re-inker in there, which is just horribly messy, isn't it? All right, I'm going to grab my water painter. These are sold in a 3-pack in my online store. And let me give you a quick look. There's a wide brush tip here, which you probably can't see. That does great backgrounds. And then there's a really small chiseled one here for those real detailed images. I do not profess to be a professional watercolor by any shape or color, but I'm going to tell you right now, watercolor paper that Stampin' Up! Sells, this Fluid 100, is fantastic. It is so forgiving and you can add layers and layers and layers. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open up that tip. I unscrewed this and I added tap water. Another disclaimer, if you live where tap water is treated, you may find that you have sediment in your water which can clog the bladder to the bristles. So I would recommend purified water in here, which is a small little funnel, or over the sink, and you're good to go. There's the word push on 2 sides. So if you squeeze this, water is going to come through the bristles, right? So I'm going to go ahead and just add a little bit to this to water this down. Remember, we can always take it away if we don't need it. I need to reach for a rag. I kind of forgot that one before we started. All right. So I like to kind of just give it a dab to make sure I can kind of control it. Okay, you're going to laugh. But if you're doing a whole bunch of leaves and you don't want to spend a lot of time, just mush it on there. And the great thing about these succulents, you can just mush to your heart's content. Remember I told you, I'm not a professional watercolor. So some of you watching me are either shrieking or thinking, yay, an easy way. So I'm just going to go ahead and cover this. And I don't even care if I cover the whole thing. Just get some color on there. Really important, you have to make sure that this is kind of dry if you're going to add different color families. Otherwise, it's going to tend to bleed outside of the stamped outline because the paper has to absorb the water. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to squeeze this over my rag until the water runs clear. You want to make sure you get all the green out. If ever I'm doing a whole lot of watercoloring like I did here, I just keep a cup so I don't have to empty the bladder of this, and it makes my life easy. All right, so I'm going to take this one off to the side, and I am going to grab another block really quick. And this time I'm bringing in Rich Razzleberry. Can we all do a heavy sigh? This one is retiring. And just like before, we're going to give that a little bit of tap. We don't need a whole lot of ink, and we're going to do the exact same thing. Now, I haven't cleaned this super good, so you're going to give me a little forgiveness. If you're like me and you have no patience and waiting for this to dry, get out your heat tool. Give it a good blast. That's going to speed up the drying process. But this is going to allow you to build on top of there. So I'm going to add a little bit around the outside petals because you know how succulents are, right? The ends tend to be a different color, sometimes purple, darker grains. You can just have a really good time with this. And then a little bit here in the center will probably be a little bit more pigmented, I would say. But do you already see what's happening? Look, it's starting to look a little bit more realistic, isn't it? So I'm going to go ahead and rinse this off. I'm not worried about getting it totally clean because that brush can come back to here. And guess what I can do? I can go back and fill this in, and I'm going really quick because you're watching me. And I'm going to go back over and kind of blend it a little bit so it doesn't look so harsh. But I mean, come on, you can add color to a succulent or leaves really, really quickly and then die cut them with the coordinating die. Now let me move that mess up out of the way, and I'm just going to bring that card back in so you can get a good look at that and see how I did it. But didn't that turn out fun? And that was really, really easy to create. I call mishmash watercoloring. Now I have one more for you. These three are in your free project sheet. But today I was practicing, so I've got a bonus project that is only here for the live stream, and then we're going to move on to some fun tonight, including our giveaway. So here is your bonus project using these two stamp sets. Amazing Year and Full of Love, both retiring. Now I want to call your attention to this. Do you notice how the artwork works very, very similar? And that's because the concept artist that designed this was the same person. And I love it because they can be worked together. Fantastic. And let me show you what I did. I'm going to start by saying this is going to need extra postage because I elevated all the elements here. So I stamped the envelope image, I colored it with Stampin' Blends really easy, and I cut it out with my scissors. There's no dies. It's not hard, you know why? Because it's white on white, so it's very, very forgiving. Look, it's not perfect. Designer Series paper, so pretty. Design a Daydream, it's a host exclusive product, also retiring. And then I went into layers with the images. So this is Happy Birthday for the open envelope. So closed envelope, open envelope, and on the inside, the bouquet, which says enjoy your day. Now I do want to show you that this will not close perfectly flat because I chose to elevate all the layers, the second and the third, which is not what I did on the original card. It still stands up. Make sure both of your Designer Series paper sides work for this fun fold, and you'll have absolutely no trouble whatsoever. I'm grabbing my buttons because now we get to do the fun part. First of all, I would love to know which one's your favorite. Pop a comment down in the live chat or in the replay chat right now if you're here watching. I love to know which one's your favorite. Your feedback is so important when I'm designing. I try really hard to cater to all the different tastes. All right, I'm grabbing my mouse because I want to make sure I stay on the agenda because we're going to give away some really, really fun stuff. All right, so now is the time where we are going to do the giveaway, okay? So I'm going to give you some instructions, and this is how it's going to work. You are going to put your full name, city, and state in the chat starting right now. And then when they start to come in, I'll tell you when to stop. I'm going to let the system randomly select 2 free winners for the online stamping retreat that is going to be on April 22nd. Now, if your name happens to be chosen and you've already registered, don't sweat it. I'll take care of you. We got you covered. So don't think, oh my gosh, I registered. What if I win? I got you. We'll make sure you get your money back. Don't worry. Okay, so start putting in your first, your last name, city, and state. That is required in order to win. I will come back to this because I want to give you a few minutes to put all that in now so I can get as many names in there as possible before I say stop, okay? While you're doing that, I want to chat with you about this. We've just talked about it. The last chance products list. There are lots and lots and lots of products that are being retired from both the annual and the current mini catalog. Tomorrow is April 4th, and Stampin' Up! Is marking down some of those products up to 60% off. So anywhere from like 10 to 60%, but not all the products. So tomorrow's going to be a big day. So I'm going to tell you, first thing in the morning, have your wish list with you and look and see if those products that you want are available and order them. Most importantly, you want the ink refills to the ink pads that you have that are going away, which means they are retiring and no longer going to be available. You want those ink refills so you can continue to use those colors you love. Pick up a package of colored cardstock and add it to it and throw in some colored accessories and you're going to be set. But don't miss the stamps, the dies, and other embellishments, ribbons, designer papers that you love because tomorrow will be a great day. Remember to use my monthly host code. You will find it at the very tippy top above the header on my website at lisastampstudio.com because if you do, I will give you special rewards and you can read about those on my website under Shop Rewards. They're exclusive and generous. Now, the only time you're not going to use that host code is if your order is $150 or more before shipping and tax, because then Stampin' Up! Is going to give you additional rewards. I will intuitively know that you are entitled to my rewards as well. So I got you covered there, okay? All right, one more thing we're going to talk about, and then pretty soon I'm going to say that stop thing, but we got a few more minutes. All right, then let's talk about this. Stamp Studio memberships. Oh my gosh, the response has been overwhelming. Thank you all so much. But if you're wondering what all the hype is this. How about $5 for the whole month? And every Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, I send you a tutorial project that I create only for the membership. It's not shared anywhere. I designed these specifically for the membership. Does not matter what country you live in because it's a virtual product. So we'd love to have you join us. You can get the details on my website under membership for level 1. Now, level 2 is coming in May, and many of you have said, oh my goodness, if I sign up for 1, can I gravitate to 2 if I want to? Of course you can. And we'll give you more information about that as we get closer to May because we're just starting off April. The great thing about Stamp Studio memberships, my photos are not watermarked. Do whatever you want with them. Mass produce them, sell the cards you create with them, share the tutorials, use them for classes and workshops if you're a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. My only rule is that you don't sell my actual tutorial, but you can distribute it however you'd like. So I would love to be able to share that with you. All right, mark your calendars because I will be back live with you. Now, next week it is Wednesday. It's going to be April 12th because that's going to be the kickoff of the April online card class. Okay, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Click the thumbs up if you've enjoyed tonight's live because I would love to see you back here with me next week. Head over to my website, and if you scroll to the bottom, you'll see subscribe there as well. And if you do that, I'll add you to my weekly free e-newsletter that includes a tutorial project not shared anywhere else, and it's just for you. All right, here comes the fun part. Are you guys ready? Stop. No more comments. Now, while you're stopping, because I know there's a delay between when I speak and when you hear it, I want to let you know that I'm going to stick around when the live stream is ending here to do a live Q&A with you. So if you have a question you would like featured here on the screen for me to answer for you live, you can start putting those questions in now as well. Use the Q and a colon and then your question. And then I'll pick them randomly as they come in, and I'll pop it up here on the screen. I'll answer some of those questions for you because I love to interact with you. All right. Over on my website under PDF tutorial, you'll find a whole bunch of tutorials in my library there for you as well. All right, we've said stop. Are we ready? Okay, I am using software. It's a random list picker, and it's going to scroll through and find a winner. So hold on, I gotta press a bunch of buttons, and let's see. Okay, the first winner is, are we ready? Betty Bailey! Congratulations to you, Betty! You won free admission to session 1 for 2023 for the online stamping retreat. Now, Betty, hang tight. You need my information on how to get that registration. Okay, so hold on. We're going to do one more. Okay, hold on. I'm waiting for it to pick. Hold on. Deanna Bannich, you are the other one. Congratulations to you, Deanna. We cannot wait to spend the day with you. So exciting for you. Now, listen to me, Betty and Deanna. This is what you need to do to redeem your free retreat. You're going to go over to my website at lisasstampstudio.com, and you're going to click on contact. It's going to start an email for you. And in the subject line, you're going to put free retreat. And then inside the body of the email, I need your full name, the email address you're going to register for the event under, and of course, just a little blurb about where you live, because I need your address as well, because you never know, you might win prize patrol during our retreat as well. We're giving away a bunch of product too. So congratulations to both of you. So excited that you'll be able to join us. Now, if you are both already registered, let me know that as well. All right, for those of you that need to leave, thank you for joining me. I look forward to having you back with me next Wednesday. For those of you with questions that want to stay with me in the live stream to have those answered live, I look forward to having you join me. All right, this is the informal part. You're going to see the side of my head, and I'm going to come over here, and I am going to type the Q and filter out those questions so that I can answer them for you. And believe it or not, Gina, I do not see a single question because I think everybody was typing their names. All right, so I'm going to give this a second to refresh because I know the streams, when you live stream, there's always that delay between when I talk and you hear it and when you type and I see it. So I'm just going to kind of scroll through here to see if I see any questions. And if I don't, then you know what? There's always next week, right? So I'm just kind of scrolling through. I see Kylie and Bruno have been on here. Thank you for joining us. I'm so glad that you guys have liked the projects and you're congratulating the winners. I love that. All right, we're going to do that filter one more time. I don't want to keep you if I don't. Oop, we got some questions. Here we go. Karen's question is, hold on, Karen, the system's catching up. With the new in colors and all the new color changes, where do you start when ordering the new colors? Oh, Karen, the $1 million question. If you're like me and have no restraint, your credit card's going to scream when it's time. All right, but in all practicality, this is a fantastic question. So first, let me tell you what in colors are. There are 5 colors that are on trend, and Stampin' Up! Introduces 5 new colors every year. So the in colors that are retiring in 2022 are going, and 5 new ones are coming in that will be available for 2 years. And they're really pretty, very on trend. Oh, where do you start? So here's what I would suggest. Look at what you already own and see where there are holes in your color palette. So if you're like me, you probably have your ink pads stacked up somewhere. I can look and go, oh, I really need a good pink, or I really need a good yellow, or I don't need any more greens. That's how you're going to choose. As far as the 5 in colors, I'm going to tell you right now, the product coordination with Stampin' Up! Is award-winning and second to none. You're going to want those 5. I promise you, because they're entwined in the designer series papers as well as the embellishments. I do not think you will be sorry. So as far as where, I would start with looking in holes in what you already own. And I hope that helps answer your question concisely. You know, Karen, if you've got more questions, you can always email me. All right, here comes another question from Carolyn. Hi, Carolyn. What was your most favorite stamp set bundle of last year? That is so hard. Okay, I have 2. And I don't want this to come across wrong, but I'm going to tell you that the stamp set that I designed for my $1 million sales achievement was in the annual catalog called Charming Sentiments. It includes the stamp set and the coordinating dies. That was my very favorite because greetings, you always can use them, right? They never go out of style. And I love that there were dies for those greetings. And guess what? It's being carried over into the new catalog, but it won't be a bundle. So if you love it, buy it now as a bundle to save that 10%. My second one was Share a Milkshake that's in the current mini catalog, and it's not retiring, but it will no longer be a bundle. So if you love it as much as I do, get that 10% savings once again. All right, Gina, if you texted me, I'm sorry I didn't catch it. All right, let's see. Judy has a question. Of all the trips you've won, which one was your favorite? Oh, Judy, this is such a hard question. You know, they are all special for various reasons, and some of you are wondering, what trips have you won? One of the perks of being a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator gives you the opportunity to earn achievements, and one of them, of course, is an incentive trip. Now, I'm going to tell you that the margin of demonstrators that earns it is very, very small because we are required to say that. But I do work my Stampin' Up! Business full-time, and I have for 25 years, so please keep that in mind. Oh my gosh, Alaska is at the top of my list. I've been there twice, loved it, and I think the Mediterranean would have been my other one. But they're all amazing. I mean, I've loved them all. I mean, Greece, where do we stop, right? And Arlene said, are you sad your stamp set is being retired? Well, it's not. It's actually being carried over into the new catalog, but not as a bundle. And again, we're talking about the Charming Sentiments bundle and stamp set. Okay, and I'm scrolling. We'll do one more. And hold on. They're coming quick. Bear with me. Terry has a question. This is the last one for tonight. Is there any way to get rid of ink from cardstock? Oh, that's a challenging one. If you get a highly pigmented color of ink on a light color cardstock, the answer for the most part is no. But I do want to share something with you. So let me turn my camera down. I'm going to move these out of the way. So let's just say, for instance, I'm going to try to bring in a piece of scratch paper here, and it's going to look like real scratch paper. Here we go. Basic white cardstock. Obviously, a color this pigmented, going to be super duper challenging. If you have a lighter color, like maybe a yellow or a light pink, it may work better. But there is a tool, and I have it linked for you on my website under my craft room favorites, and it's called a sand eraser. If you stamp it and it's fresh, which means it's not going to be bleeding wet, it's just going to be damp, you can take the sand eraser and go back and forth to try to reduce the pigmentation. Now I'm going to give you a couple tips about this. It's called a sand eraser for a reason, because it literally will try to pick up the color and it will leave some marring on your paper. So if that mistake is in an indescript area, it kind of works pretty good. Otherwise, no. However, I got another tip for you. And I actually did a YouTube short on this some time ago. Let me pull it out and let me show you. If you're using black Memento ink, which is water-based, and you act quickly, you can try the sand eraser, or I love a white chalk marker, or let me find it, or a white gel pen. I have both of these linked for you in my craft room favorites as well. What I tend to do, and I'm going to give you a really quick example here. I'm kind of hoping I can make the mistake so that you guys can see it. Yeah, that figures I can't without getting my head in your camera view. But you know how sometimes you have like a little overstamping there? So you're going to wait for that ink to dry. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take that white chalk marker and you want to make sure that you've got it flowing well. So always check it. And then you literally can dot over the little boo-boo and wait for it to dry. This tends to be a little bit buildable and it will work for those smaller things. But I actually like the gel pen better. Again, you want to make sure that it's flowing well. I'm checking here on my grid paper in that little dark spot there to make sure. And this is the same thing. If it's really small, I just dot the gel pen on there. And again, buildable. And again, for small things. Big things, Terry, no. You know what I say? Chop it up into scratch paper and call it an experience, because that's what I certainly do. All right, well, I hope that you guys enjoy the live Q&A. I always love having you here with me. Gina, Grace, and I will be back next week. Until then, I hope you have a fabulous weekend and happy Easter, everyone. Bye-bye.